There's a star that lights the road. I take this ride. Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I take it to the edge where I lived 1,000 lives. Maybe I could be the one. I'll ride to the setting sun tonight. Just drive.
Welcome to Barcelona. It's not that bad. But yeah, well, listen, I found one puddle in the paddock, but it's pretty much been like that today. But it is pretty cold and it is pretty windy. So apologies if it sounds windy or my hair blows. Although Simon Lazenby on our live coverage today said that my hair was like some sort of wire wool, which is so it doesn't blow around in the wind. He's right, of course, but it's pretty rich coming from a ginger like him. Still, yes, as I say, welcome to the nope. Oh, sorry, Pete. I didn't mean anything against gingers, by the way. Not that you can tell that Pete is a ginger, but he is. I'll turn the camera on him before we finish these notebooks. We are at live testing. Now, sorry if my brain's a bit scrambled, but I've been on air for 2.5 hours and then I still have to do a notebook. But anyway, we'll go through it. We had the 9th fastest time. We had the 9th driver on the 9th day of testing, 9th different driver set a fastest time. See, I told you my brain was scrambled, which I thought was quite interesting. I could have sworn Mark Webber had been, sorry, there's the wind pushing me over again, had been fastest at some point over testing, but apparently he hadn't. So 9 different drivers being fastest on the 9 days of testing. Will we get 12 out of 12 before the end of the week? We will have to see. Now, Red Bull's shoe sponsor has just finished a presentation in here, and I just wondered whether we're going to see lots of people coming out with bags of free shoes. I don't think we are. Just having to see who's in there. There's Jonathan Wheatley, the team manager, wearing the aforementioned team shoe, and that's my old mate Lee McKenzie wearing a rather fetching leather boot. I don't think that's made by the team sponsor, though. No, I don't think it is. She thinks I'm looking her up and down. I'm not, I'm just having a look at her shoes. So anyway, let's talk about Red Bull. Short runs on softs towards at the end meant that Mark Webber was fastest by 1.6 seconds. So I think we know what they were doing with fuel there. And with a 1:22 on, a track temperature which was very cold today was a pretty good time. However, Mark's still saying that we've got work to do and we're not out on our own, which I thought was interesting. We will see when we get to Melbourne when they put their new Go Faster bits on for the first race. Red Bull were running a camera on the camera mountings either side of the nose cone. We'll have a look at this in Development Corner, which we'll do on Felix. When are we doing Development Corner? Saturday. Sunday. We're doing Development Corner on Sunday. So we'll have a look at it. But I don't really know what those cameras were looking at. They were looking at 2 red spots, which were on the inside of the front wing end plate. Well, there were 2 red spots there, and I assume the camera was looking at them. Anyway, front wing flexibility, torsional stiffness, whatever, we will find out, and I'll let you know, which I thought was quite interesting. So Mark Webber having a decent day, as was Toro Rosso, doing a lot of aerodynamic development work. Who have we got? Look at this huddle. I love these sort of press huddles in here. It's Jean-Eric Verne. Can you see him in there, Pete? Yep. Excellent, with his nice, very fetching hat. So he's pointing. It's all right, I'm just nothing. I'm just saying hello. Hey, we got a nice wave from Jev. Oh, isn't he so handsome, ladies, in his French way. So let's move on to Ferrari. 112 laps for Felipe Massa. He did run out of fuel when he stopped in the session, at the end of the session, because he was at the end of the race run. But I think it was a bit unexpected because they weren't exactly rushing to go out and get him. So there's Mr. Hamashima here from Ferrari. Hello, good evening. Oh, we're getting lovely waves from everybody tonight, aren't we? But a decent run for Felipe Massa, and all the new bits are coming on Saturday and Sunday, so we shouldn't expect to see anything new on the car tomorrow. So they tell us. We'll see if they make the car faster. There's some still time still to find in the Ferrari, but we'll see. McLaren, a more conservative program for them today, developing a setup for the intermediate tyre for Sergio Perez, and good reliability from them, though, 100 laps. Now, talking of McLaren, I want to tell you about this ECU story. You know, there's a common ECU, electronic control unit, that runs the traction control and everything with the engine and engine maps and things like that. Although the engine maps are written by the engine manufacturers, but you know what I mean with an ECU. The common ECU is made by McLaren Electronic Systems, and they've introduced a new one this year, and it's been very buggy. It's had more bugs than a Bognor bedsit or a Barcelona bedsit, with all apologies to people from Bognor who live in bedsits. Anyway, it's got lots of bugs in it, essentially, and the teams have had lots of trouble with the ECUs. Now, McLaren have said that it is inevitable that we will have teething problems with this new version, but the good news is that they're trying new versions now, and the list of things that's going wrong, apparently, from the other teams telling me, is decreasing rather than increasing, so it should be okay for Melbourne. One of the problems with the new ECU is that it's very power hungry. It draws 3+ amps rather than 1.6, which is what the previous ECU ran on, so it's meant that it shuts down sometimes and locks the gearbox. And they had some problems with the new ECU in earlier tests. Caterham, for Charles Pic, he was going to do a race simulation today, but because of the wet conditions they decided not to do it, so they did qualifying simulations instead. They will do a race simulation on Sunday, apparently, but they have got rid of the exhaust vane on the Caterham that was illegal, as have Williams, by the way. Right, Lotus, interesting day for them. Oh, look, nice, innards of a truck. Look at that, I always like that. I always want to put my finger on this greasy bit, but I never want. Look at that layer of grease on that. Actually, much less grease. Sorry, this is extremely geeky of me looking at the inside of a truck, but I do find it quite interesting. So they were running their drag reduction device, their passive F-duct, whatever you call it, double DRS, some people call it, although it's not, as we've already said. It's very difficult to get absolutely right. James Allison will be talking more about this in notebooks throughout the week, but it's very difficult, first of all, because the fluid switch inside it, to get the switch to actually switch predictably, and then to, what, as James Allison described it, to trip the wing in a proper way and then get it to reattach when you need the downforce. So it's very difficult to get it absolutely right. They have made some progress, done some progress to getting it right, and they hope they will get it right for some time in the flyaway races. If not, it'll come maybe for this race, the first European race of the season, but it's unlikely they'll have it for the first race in Melbourne. And I asked James Allison why he hadn't seen any other big teams doing it, and he said, well, it's while you're concentrating on this drag reduction device, you're not concentrating on other things, so it's up to each team to decide whether they think it's worth their time, money and effort. But I think it's interesting it's only Lotus and Sauber who are trying this drag reduction device and not any of the other teams. We'll see what happens there. Mercedes, most laps, oh yes, today, sorry, with Lotus, today they spent a lot of time configuring a rear wing for wet conditions, which is something that troubled them last year. They didn't quite get the right rear wing for wet conditions last year, apparently, and they spent time today figuring that out. Just want to tell you about Lotus. Grosjean is driving today and tomorrow, which are the cold, wet days, and then Kimi is coming for the last two nice, bright, sunny days. So we thought that was a bit unfair, but I asked the team whether that was unfair, and they said, well, actually, Romain has had the best of the reliability, so it's probably going to end up about right as to how many laps they do. But, of course, that was going to mean Kimi Raikkonen is going to get all the nice go-faster bits for Melbourne, and Romain Grosjean isn't. So Grosjean perhaps a little bit on the back foot there, maybe Kimi showing who is the #1 driver in the Lotus team. The only other team to do that, every other team is flip-flopping their drivers. The only other team to do that is Williams, where Bottas is driving today and tomorrow, and then Maldonado is in for the last 2 days with all the nice Go Faster Australia bits on it, which I thought was interesting. So good day for Mercedes. How are we doing for time, Felix? Are we doing all right? Yeah, okay. Most laps for anybody, 113 laps for Lewis Hamilton, and he was very happy in a race simulation. He did a 3-stop race, by the way. First started on intermediates. and then came in for dry tyres in his 3 pit stops. He was happy, they're going in the right direction. Williams, Bottas was practicing driving in difficult conditions, and the crossover between full wets to inters to dries, so that was something that he wanted to do. You've got a nice chamois leather there, Pete. Do you want me to do it for you? Oh no, you're doing a very good job of doing it yourself. Excellent, well done there. So that's what Williams were doing, what Bottas was doing, testing the crossover times. Now, where are we? Force India, Sutil. I think it's as much to do with Sutil's return as to their relationship with Mercedes. Now, we don't know whether they've actually got a cut price deal from Mercedes for not going with Ferrari, or whether Force India decided 2 things. First of all, they didn't want to become a sort of satellite Ferrari team running their engines and voting the way Ferrari do, as indeed Sauber does, and indeed whether they felt that all the time and effort that they've spent in, if you just pan right, Pete, you'll see Nico Hülkenberg. No, in there. There he is. All the time and effort they've spent cultivating their relationship with Mercedes, they just didn't want to throw away, and McLaren by extension. They didn't want to throw that away on account of getting a different, reversing down that development route and then going down a different route with Ferrari. So anyway, I think we'll get those answers in the fullness of time. But Adrian Sutil looking happy enough in the paddock today. Sauber, they've got a new side pod with a sort of shrunken section in the exhaust area, but we'll show you that in Development Corner later in the week. And Marussia, okay, Luis Razia, how are we doing for time? Okay, we've just got a minute left, so let's talk about Luis Razia. So we talked about this. I kind of sort of alluded, I didn't exactly break the story, but I was saying on the F1 show on Friday that Luis Razia has had some problems with money coming from Brazil, and it does indeed seem that a sponsor in Brazil has let him down, and so he hasn't been able to bring the funding that he has. Now, I understand, and this is an unconfirmed rumour, that Heikki Kovalainen has been in their factory for a seat fitting today. Now, I got that from a couple of sources in the paddock, so I don't know if that's true. I couldn't get a straight answer out of Marussia, but they could also go down the Jules Bianchi. But it looks more and more like Luis Razia will perhaps not start the season for them. Apparently Kovalainen will drive for Marussia if he does for free, so they won't have to pay him, which is what they would have had to do with Timo Glock, but still, it's unfortunate for them because they won't be getting the money, and it's unfortunate also for Max Chilton, because think about it, he's a rookie, and to come in and your teammate immediately be Heikki Kovalainen, who's a pretty quick guy and is going to be some pretty stiff competition for Max, even though Heikki's not familiar with the car. I wonder whether Max will suddenly be thinking, hang on, I was set up here to deal with Luis Razia, now I've got Heikki Kovalainen as my teammate. Anyway, we'll see how that story develops, but don't worry, we are all over it. Right, F1 show tomorrow, so no notebook, 4:30 p.m, so straight after we come off the air with live testing. We are busy, aren't we? And that's repeated throughout the afternoon if you're still at work. And then the notebook returns on Saturday. That's the 2nd of March. Where is February gone? Well, the answer is it's gone because it's only got 28 days in it. So yeah, we'll be back in 2 days' time with a notebook on Saturday. But thanks for watching. I'm off to go and get a bit warm. Ta-ra.